Okay, I think I'm ready to get started. Um, so I'm wearing a mask today. I was feeling too well yesterday and had a little bit of a fever, and today I tested positive for COVID. So I'm trying to stay away from everyone and wear a mask and sanitize a lot. Let's go back to the old regime here. So we'll go through class today. We might get out a little early. Right now, I don't have any symptoms other than a positive test. I didn't have a fever this morning or anything like that. So I think I'm okay. But again, I don't want to put you in any jeopardy here. So we're just going to go through. We're going to walk through a little bit more of stuff than we might normally do on a day like today. So we're going to go through Unit 1, and you should see a Unit 1 exercise, a Unit 1 activity, and a Unit 1 lab, or Lab 1 here. And if you don't see those, refresh your screen. I noticed some of them were hidden, so I've unhidden them. So you should see an exercise, an activity, and a lab here. Generally, we will often go through the exercises on Tuesday and the labs on Thursday. But this week, we just did sit up on Tuesday. I don't think we did the exercise on Tuesday. So we'll walk through a little bit of the exercise today. The activity we'll have you do on your own. And then we'll walk through the lab today. The lab is very short. Well, I've tried to make it a little longer, but it's not like our normal labs will be taking out a Raspberry Pi and wiring together and doing something on the Raspberry Pi hardware for that. But today we'll do a couple other things, and we'll try to get Raspberry Pi stuff set up and ready to go here and talk about that. So that'll be the second part. But before we get there, let's do the exercise. So for the exercise, there's just some directions here. You might want to just copy the directions. Again, this is just a Google Doc. You might want to just make a copy of it. Make copy. And then you can edit it directly here. So just go through and answer these questions. So the first one, we're going to be doing some look at different hardware, software, interface between hardware and software. And the question is, what are some good places to get some information? So I want you to compare two different sources of information on computer hardware that you might use. Try to select one source that you trust that's maybe unbiased, and another one that might be a little more, I don't know if bias is right, but might be more sponsored from thing, or might be a paid influencer or a paid article. There's a lot of websites and stuff out there here. So I just want you to do search for some. Maybe there are websites you already use there. I don't know where you get your information these days. In the old days, we used to get these paper magazines, and we'd get them in often every week, and they'd have articles in it. We go through, but some of the paper magazines were paid sponsorship by companies and stuff like that. So we had to be careful when reading these magazines to try to know which, and some of the articles were reviews, unbiased reviews, but they were paid to do the review there. So you have to wonder, well, how unbiased are you if you're getting paid to review this product here? And I think that same sort of format's carried over to social media. If you're doing stuff on social media, how much, what are we looking at as far as paid? This person gets sponsored or paid or not. I'm teaching a game design class, and in that game design class, I'm going to be using a YouTube channel for this person, she does a lot of YouTube channels on game design or, videos and tutorials. And she was just talking about the newest version, newest updates for Unity, but she had just got paid to go to the Unity conference, and Unity just flew her out to Denmark and put her up and had her go to this big conference on the Unity game engine, and she was reviewing that. And so she was trying to be unbiased, but I'm going, yeah, but Unity just flew you across the country and put you up in a hotel at this conference. I don't know how unbiased you can be at that point there. So again, that's what I want. So I want you to do some searches. We want you to find two sources. List the source here. What do you think? Is it biased or unbiased? And what type of information could you get from that source here? If you don't even know what to do, what hardware do you buy that you want to review? So if you're that's not a bad place to, so let's say you're buying a new phone and you're looking at the newest Samsung, just Google Samsung, phone review, or what is the newest iPhone 15 review, see what websites come up, or search for that in social media and see what you get for that. So again, if you don't have places that you read reviews on, just search for some, and the word review is often helpful because that's where people are trying to do unbiased reviews, but there's a lot of paid reviews out there also. So. Not happy with you, huh? We set it. We'll see if it comes on. If not, we'll put in the help desk request to have them fix it.
It wasn't working.
Okay, good. Then it's probably not working. So we'll have to. Like I say, you can just Google, I'm doing a Pixel 8 review, and I do that in the, ZDNet, some social media stuff, Reddit's, of course, here. And then there's a bunch of YouTube videos. Some of these might be people I know, some people, a lot of them aren't. And then just digital, these magazines or websites, Digital Trends, CNET, some of our bigger names here. So like Forbes, I've heard of Forbes, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this is trustworthy. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't here. Um, some of these used to be very trustworthy, like Tom's Hardware, but in recent years, I don't trust that. Consumer Reports, I know Consumer Reports, so I would tend to trust that. They're an independent organization here. And I actually use this gsmarena.com. I think I've read a lot of reviews on their sites, and I actually like their website for hardware reviews. So again, pick two and just summarize them here. You can also use AI if you want. So if you want to try and compare this to like Google Bard or ChatGPT. And one of the problems we have with some of those is they're a little outdated, but I think some of them are getting access to the internet and getting better, more up-to-date data for that. Okay, I'm gonna break in and go to step 2 now. Again, if you're not done, that's fine. Remember, everything's due on Sunday nights here. So you have until Sunday night to finish and submit this stuff here. So I'm just gonna walk you through step 2. Now the textbook talks about hexadecimal and binary numbers. And again, you probably have seen those, maybe if you did the CIS principles class or something like that. But I just wanted to do a little activity with hex numbers. And one of the places you probably might see hex numbers is in colors. So I have a link to this colorhex.com website here. You can search for any colors here, look them up, or you can just click on one of these colors. I'm just going to click on one of these colors here. And this is its hex number, so I'm just going to copy that and start with that. And I'm just gonna paste it in the sample. You have to do two numbers here, here and here, and not modify the sample. But I'm just gonna modify the sample because I don't have to turn this in. Now with a number like this, a color value, every 2 characters is a hex value here. So I'm going to break this up into this hex value. The first one is 6A. The next one is 3C. So I'm going to write down 3C here. And the last one is 07. Now those are kind of strange numbers. So like 07, that seems like a pretty good number. But 3C, that doesn't seem like a very legal number there. But remember, with hex numbers, we count to 16, but we only have 10 digits. So after we get at 9, we start adding digits. I wish they would just use emojis or something like that. But when we invented hex numbers, we didn't have emojis. So we count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then A, B, C, D, E, F. So those letters are all digits here. So 6A is a number in the same way as 69 is a number. 3C is a number in the same way as 37 is a number. Now, each of these hex numbers can be broken up into binary numbers with 8 binary digits, because these go from 0 to 255, and that's how many binary digits. So we want to convert these to here. Luckily, we go here and look, our binary numbers are right here also. It'll show, and again, these are the amount of red, green, blue in here. So I'm going to take those numbers and paste those in here. So when we're talking about a number here, we're talking about the first part of it is the amount of red, the second part is the amount of green, and the third part is the amount of blue, RGB. And the last thing is the decimal numbers. And again, those should be shown here also. Again, they should be numbers between 0 and 255. And this kind of makes sense. The hex number 07 is the same as the decimal number 7. There. It gets more complicated when we get here. So 3C would be 3 16s plus a C, which is like a 12, 9, 10, 11, 12, I think. So you just have to go through and figure out those, do 2 other colors from this one. And again, you can search for colors, but it's probably just easy to pick some fun colors that are here for it. I'm going to jump into the last one here. So the book talks about the 6502 processor, which was one of the first microprocessors out in 1975. So this is really old. So your job is to find a fun fact about that, research something associated with this processor you find interesting, and summarize your results in a single paragraph. So again, you can go out to the textbook and you can read. So maybe you find, oh boy, this is really interesting. It's powered by a 5-volt DC current. And you know, of course, that 5-volt DC current is just like USB. So that you could probably retrofit this to run off a USB-C plug, which is 5.4. So you could say something like that. Or you could just Google this here. Or you could just ask AI and see how AI does. So if I'm running AI, I'm going to go to Chat GPT. I'm going to log in with my CSS ID through Google. I'm going to ask it for a fun fact about the processor. And it gives me a paragraph. I don't know if it's one fun fact. It talks about it being used in the Atari 2600 and the Apple II computer. The fun fact is that it was designed by Chuck Peddle, a team being known for the affordability and whites. I don't know if that's very fun. So maybe I'll ask ChatGPT to list 10 fun facts, see how that goes. And again, this lists how it was used in the Apple, the Atari, and the NES. I'm a big Nintendo fan, so maybe I want to do something there. And I want to do it in a short paragraph, so maybe I want to ask it. Right. How the it was used by Nintendo. And then and the question is now, is this accurate or not? And so maybe you want to do a quick search to tell, or you might be, I mean, like I'm thinking it was used in the NES and there, so maybe you want to Google that. And the NES introduced Super Mario Bros. And Legend of Zelda. And I know that sounds right. So maybe I'll just use that as my fun fact. I'll just Google first was 6502 used in the NES. Let's see if Google confirms this. Yeah. So again, if you find a fact, if you get it from AI, I just want you to just tell me. This is from Chat GPT or something like that. If it's from a website, just include the URL. If it's from the textbook, just say textbook. So find some fun fact and put it in here. Please don't all do the same fun fact. I have to read all of these. And so if you come up with some different fun facts, some of you, if some of you can do the same facts, that's fine. I mean, you're gonna, it's a bunch of us, but it would be really fun to have a couple different facts. Okay, that's all I ask. Okay. And then when you're done with this, if you haven't, I assume you've made a copy of this already if you're editing it. If not, make a copy of this. I'm actually going to undo all my changes because I can edit this directly, and so I don't want to do that. But here's my copy here, and again, you can submit that. So there's a couple ways. I don't know if how you've been submitting stuff. I generally prefer that you just submit a link. You just do a share, and make sure it's not a private link like this one. Anyone with the link can do it and copy that link and submit that. You can download this as a PDF. That's fine too. I can download as a Word document or PDF. That would be good too. And then just go in here and let me switch over to student mode. So if you go into the exercise, you can upload the file. If it's in Google Docs, you can actually choose existing. And if your Google Drive is connected, you can go find it in Google Drive. My Google Drive is so full, it tends to bog down there. You can also, in the comments here, just post a link. So again, if I had just this link, I could just post that link in here. That's perfectly fine way to submit this. So somehow submit it. Again, if you download it as it's a required one. I'll try to eliminate the required ones in the future. So for now, you're just going to have to upload some file here. So okay. So the other thing you have to do is one of these activities. You have 3 to choose from. You just have to choose one of them by Sunday night. And so I'll just leave those up to you to do. And I'm going to go down to the lab and work on the lab. This is the last thing we're going to do today is walk through this lab. So I'm going to close out some of this other stuff. And again, when you open up the lab, you probably want to make a copy of this so you can edit it. And again, usually we'll be working on our hardware here, but again, we're still working on setting that up. So I just ask you some other jobs, more like I do in an exercise. So the first thing to do is look at architecture jobs. We're in a computer architecture course. What does that mean? That term is actually applies to a lot of different ones. There's software architecture, hardware architecture, solution architecture, database architecture, cloud architect there. So I want you to do a search and find 3 different job postings that have architect in the title. They should be computer posting still, okay? Can't be an actual architect, okay? No real architects here. So go to your favorite website and search, try to find, and feel free to find another city, dream about where you might want to live or where you might want to go there. You don't have to be in Minnesota. And so, again, sometimes it's fun just to look other places. So, and then just describe each of these jobs here. So. Oh yeah, and I guess I just want you to know what tasks these do. So probably put the name of the job here and then what tasks they do. And most of these jobs will list this job will have you do this. And one thing I want you to just kind of see is that the different types of jobs might have totally different tasks that they are. So interesting. Like I say, I'm just at LinkedIn. I search for architect. I search across the United States, it brings me actual architects. But if I pick a location, like I have family, my son is out by Seattle, so I just put Seattle in here because they have a lot of tech stuff. I type Seattle here, then I'm getting more of these software architect, senior mainframe modernization architect. And again, in the description, this is some of the stuff they're going to do here for this. So we want to have you add that to your document. I'm gonna skip over the next two parts of this lab and return to them in a sec. So I'll just go a brief overview, so you can work on them after we're done with part D. So part B is about Ada Lovelace. So the textbook talks about Ada being a mathematician who worked with the analytic engine that Charles Babbage was trying to build and wrote one of the first complex algorithms there, and was largely credited for writing the first computer program. Even, though this was a mechanical device, not what you would be considered a program. So I want you to look a little bit more into this. There's the Ada Lovelace project, or Project Lovelace, talks a little bit more about this. It talks about this being a recursive algorithm. So I want you to search and find out what a recursive algorithm is and describe it here. So I don't care if you just Google it, ask ChatGPT, go to videos. There's lots of videos that just, ask what is a recursive algorithm, find some summary of it that you can share here, and cite where you got it, a URL or a poster's name or something like that. The other thing is conferences, or just, we're going to talk a little bit about doing some career exploration in this class. And so one of the things people in the computer field do often to stay updated is to go to conferences. There are professional conferences. I go to some of these, and the ACM and the IEEE are two large organizations here that have conferences, and there are others here. So I want you to pick one of these conferences. There's a whole list that you think might be interesting, and then include a little bit of information. And then part two is industry has their own conferences, especially for developers. So like Google has their developer conferences, Microsoft does, Amazon does. So you can just search. There are some that are well known, like Google I/O here. There's Google I/O 2023. You can look a little bit about that. Or you can just look at like Microsoft Developer Conference in 2024. So, and look at one of those that might be interesting to you. And again, you're supposed to just write a quick summary of one of these conferences, details on it. Again, I'm not too picky. We're just going through kind of the process this week. I'm not going to be grading this stuff too severely or anything like that. We're just getting used to our cadence in this class, doing the lab and that sort of stuff. So those are two things you can do. Now, the last thing is Raspberry Pi here. So I want to see how you're doing as far as the Raspberry Pi goes. And that sort of stuff. I have a bunch of extra parts and stuff. If you need some parts, then I have some Raspberry Pis. A number of you have asked for Raspberry Pis already. So if you asked for Raspberry Pi, you can come up and grab one. Just grab one of these boxes, and it should have everything you need in the box. If you're buying this, you should have, you can start checking off what you have and stuff. By next Thursday, we'd like you to have everything ready to go. So next Thursday, we'll use the Pis in class. So why don't you, if you're looking to get a Raspberry Pi, why don't you come up here and grab one here. So who talked to me? So you did. Find me names. Riley. Yep. Okay. Taylor.